I have to stress is not good evening or good afternoon, as folks who attend our webinar literally are all across the world. We have folks from South Africa, England, all of the places that you could think of. We're excited to have you with us today. I know we're going to share some just exciting information for you. I'm Mark Brooks. I'm the president of the Charis Group, and a number of months ago, working with one of my churches, I began to talk to them about the whole aspect of electronic giving. And at dinner that night, the business administrator said, I've got a couple of guys who are designing apps for restaurants, and they're going to design an app for us. Well, one thing led to another, and here we are today. I really think about why we ought to be thinking about apps and electronic delivery of our message, and I thought of a couple of great biblical passages to sort of begin our time today. Jesus in the parable of the great banquet tells the story of a man preparing a banquet and nobody came. And so he brings his servant in, and in Luke 14 he says, the Lord said to his servant, go out into the highways and hedges and compel them to come in that my house may be filled. Well, I believe we've got to go where people are at. And they're certainly online. When you think about 1 billion people own a personal computer in our world, and 1.4 billion use the internet. Paul said in 1 Corinthians 9:22, I have become all things to all people so that by all possible means I might save some. 5 billion people in our world have a smartphone. If you go anywhere, you're going to see people fiddling with their thumbs, sending text messages. Online giving is skyrocketing in terms of what people buy. So why should we as the church be behind the times? And so I'm very excited to be working with Church App Solutions. I'm Jeff Robinson, Chris Burdett, our active members at New Horizon United Methodist in Champaign, Illinois, where I work on the stewardship side. And I'm thrilled to know these guys and be working with them. They're going to lead and guide us through our time today. So Jeff and Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can do your thing.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Get started here. I'm going to do just a little bit of house cleaning for someone that may not have been on webinars before. We've got everybody muted, otherwise it gets just a little crazy. So what we can do there is if you have a question, you'll see on your screen where there's a question panel where you can type it in, and I'll be monitoring those and looking at those, and at the end of this we'll try to answer as many of those as we can. And those that we can't get to, we can send you an email or get a hold of you to try to do that. So questions we'll just kind of cover at the end.
Yeah, and on the screen that you see right now, the far left image, it may be the way your screen looks right now with a little orange button with a white arrow. If you click that, your screen will look like where the red dot is now, and that's where you can type in your question, enter a question for staff. That'll pop up for Chris, Mark, and I to take a look at. We'll try to answer those as we go, and if we can't, I know we won't get them all answered. We will put together something afterwards and get it emailed out to everybody so everyone has answers to all the questions that are asked.
Great.
So let's jump into this. We're here, Chris, myself, Jeff Robinson, Church App Solutions. Want to talk about mobile marketing and how that's the most powerful media that's been invented to date. So what an app can do for a church, it takes and centralizes all your communication with your congregation. And we're going to talk about some nice, wonderful, exciting features on how that works as a centralization tool. We're also going to talk about mobile giving, taking your online giving portal and bringing that into the app and giving your congregation the opportunity to give right on their mobile device. And another exciting feature we're going to talk about as well is how the sermons can be podcast right into the app. So no matter where your congregation members are, or if they have somebody in mind that they want to share a sermon with, we've got a nice feature we'll talk about as well called Tell a Friend, that they can send an invite to a friend, and they can pop right on and listen to that sermon. That may just be exactly what they need to hear at that time where they're sitting, and they are able to do that on their mobile phone. So what we're saying is the mobile revolution is here, and Church App Solutions can get you ready if you're not quite there.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we're talking about is how the web has changed, and the fact is now it is already changed. People are browsing the web on their phones. They're using the mobile devices and tablets to really just take a look at everything that's out there on the web. So while there may be a lot of computers, there's a lot more phones, and that's how people want to be communicated to right now. So it has changed. The apps are starting to replace websites, and people want that icon on their screen where they can go and just access directly the tools that they want to use. You know, the whole thing about living in a mobile world now, we kind of talk about how Best Buy has changed their marketing strategy in this. It used to be when you walked into Best Buy, you would have a lot of PCs out there that they'd be showing and trying to sell. Now when you walk in, the first thing you see is rows and rows of phones and smartphones and tablets and all those things. And in the back, you'll see some of the laptops, and in the very back, you might see 3 or 4 of the CPU units that they're selling. So really everything has gone into this mobile world, and so we're trying to show people that.
I mean, you're talking less like the line says. I mean, you hear in marketing and everything out there, it's like, you know, mobile's coming, mobile's coming. Well, it's here. We're living in a mobile world now. Smartphones are taking over. It's where we live right now. It's not coming. It has arrived. And with that being said, it's time to get mobile. And there's no reason for churches to lag behind on that. So what we're going to talk about here are some numbers just to give you the magnitude of what we're going at. Now there's just a huge number of cars on the planet, 800 million of them. Cable and satellite TV subscriptions, 850 million of them. Personal computers, there's over 1 billion. Internet users, 1.4 billion. That's a total of 4.6 billion. And when you talk about mobile phone subscribers, 5.2 billion and growing. That's just an enormous, enormous number. And you know what's important is getting and reaching those people that's coming through the door. It's not that there's 5.2 billion people out there, but we want to put a tool in your hand so you can communicate with the members and the guests that are walking through your front door. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Now there's 2 different sides or 2 different ways that you can take your church into the mobile arena. Now one is a mobile website, and that has a very distinct place in the mobile strategy that you might be talking about within your church right now. And a mobile website's great for bringing in new folks. And we can help with that if you don't have a mobile website. But what we're going to talk about today is mobile apps. The mobile websites, you know, is a tool for you to, like I said, to get in front of those people that are searching a church in Champaign County and bring you up in a.
Yeah, I mean, there's a place for that, definitely, in the mobile apps. You know, bring that into one place and kind of build that loyalty and bring people together so that they could have that place to really see it. And that battle out there is going on. You have, you know, Apple on one side, and then we have Android on the other. They're both trying to, you know, build these markets up, and we've decided in our platforms is to really just hit both of them and really use the tool as it should be used and let everybody have it and not exclude anyone. So we cover all of the major, you know, pop platforms that are out there and get them to everybody. So what that kind of means is, we'll give you an idea real quick, and then we'll get into how this app works, is how we go about building this platform. If you wanted to build a app right now, you'd be spending anywhere from the $12,000 to $13,000 in building that app. So what we've done is we've kind of backed up and said, how can we make a framework and efficiency? When I was building homes, we always looked at efficiency. So one thing we've looked at here is, how can we build a platform in the background that everybody can use and just reuse it, re-put the artwork on it, change the buttons, the information, and the message in it. So we've built this platform now that we can come in and change it for each individual church. And this way we don't have to charge them that $8,000 each time. We can make it hugely affordable, and that can help kind of spread it out there and get everybody involved in the marketplace. So I don't know, Jeff, did you have any other kind of comments on that end? I think we may have lost him. Okay. Well, we're going to move on. Right here, this is the screen for your iPhone or your Android. So if you had your phone up, this is what you would see. In here we put the New Horizon logo on there. And if you click that logo, you would get a load screen. And that load screen is going to go directly to show people a little bit about the church. You can put your message on there, your mission statement. And then after we go on from there, it's going to launch actually the app. So I think we got a problem with the mic here. Let me check something real quick here. There we go. Jeff? I think we hit the mute button on him
I'm
somehow.
back.
There he is. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so here we have
Here I
the
am.
home screen, and technology is great. And this is what's going to come up once the app loads. So on the very front of this, we can actually capture a mailing list. If they want to subscribe and give you their email address, this is a place where we can get that information. We can also put on the middle there where there's the screen that says Thirsty, we can put scrolling images so that there is more that they can be displayed and more information that you can give right there on the home screen. And then across the bottom, you're going to see the links that we can start to put on there. Now, there's many more of these, and we're going to go through those real quick here so we can get everybody moving. But we can rearrange them in the order of importance for your church. We can add or remove ones that make sense or don't make sense and grow this app as we go. So the next screen here is one of the great communication tools. This lets you contact other people. So this is part of the communication. The first button here is the call us button. So if somebody has the app open and they hit that button, it automatically is going to dial the church from their phone and get in contact with them. The next thing we've got is the directions button. So this is great if you have somebody coming in from out of town or wants to find you. This launches the phone into a map mode, and it basically brings up like a Google map. It shows you where you are, where the church is, and gives them directions on how to get there. Real simple and friendly. The tell a friend, we hit that button, and now we can launch an icon that says, do you want to share this app via text, email, Facebook, or Twitter? And they can send that to their friends, family that are coming in from out of town, and they can find out, about the app and have all of your information in one spot instantly. And that's what that looks like when you hit the share, tell a friend. It brings up those icons right there. So the next slide is one of the other tabs, events. So this we can put on all the different events that you're hosting. We recommend you put on the big ones, not every one of them. And then after you link one of these events, you can hit like the Alpha Banquet, and then you'll have another screen that'll come up, and it'll talk about what that event's about, what's going on that night. And then the plus button in the upper right-hand corner, they can tap that button, and it's going to send the reminder right to their phone. So their calendar and their phone will now have that logged in there. It'll be easier for them to remember that event and have that on their schedule. The favorite part for me that we do in the app is the podcast. So this, if you have an RSS feed, and if you don't, we can help talk about how to get that set up. But the RSS feed will feed your sermons directly into the app. So now somebody could go back and listen to that sermon whenever they want, and they can scroll back as long as they want, months, and as long as you broadcast them, they can go get them and listen to them and get connected wherever they are. So
that works also, Chris, with a video feed too, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah, we can do the video feeds in there so they can actually see what's going on if you're recording that. That's right. Sometimes forget about that part. It's a really powerful tool. Another form of communication, Facebook. Lots of us have Facebook now, and we tie that into the app, so everything's right there all about your church. And then the other social media, of course, we want to put Twitter in there. If you're using that function, it's right in the app. Now people can see everything right there in one spot, so they can be connected. Ministries. We really suggest that you put all your ministries in here. That way people are looking into the church and want to see what it's about, want to see what's going on, or maybe they want to find a place to serve. They can do some research right on your app. They can click different tabs, and it'll bring up what those different ministries are about. And some have even put links in here to join a ministry where they can actually email directly to somebody and get some information back. So lots of links that we can build into the app. This is, of course, one of the big ones. This is donations. We can put a log in there. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just going, yay, I'm the stewardship guys.
Giving is an exciting part of this app. It's some churches. There's a fear of talking about giving out there, talking about money, and kind of coincidental that that's one of the biggest topics that Jesus spoke about in the Bible. Now here we're giving your church the opportunity to bring in your online giving portal. And if you don't have an online giving portal, we're in communication with a couple of different companies out there, and Mark can help out there as well. But we can get you hooked up with an online giving. Once the online giving is in place, we can serve that up right inside the app and give your members the opportunity to give whenever they want. And one thing that we've seen with this is when you go from just traditional giving, you incorporate the online giving, and then also bring in the mobile giving, it takes the way that the money flows into the church and really spreads that out. You don't get these big chunks coming in that's hard to plan for, and you don't know when it's going to come. Whenever you give folks the opportunity to give in the way that they're most comfortable with, they're more likely to give and give on a continual basis. So we've incorporated that right into the app and can work with each individual church in making that work for your situation.
Guys, can I
Absolutely.
interject here and kind of talk about some practical applications here? Let's say that some of you are up in the snow belt and you get a blizzard that comes in, and that's actually happened. I had one of my clients in Virginia a couple of winters ago. They missed like 3 Sundays. You can imagine the loss that you experience in that offering. It would be very easy, and they're going to talk about push technology here in a minute, to push a note to all of your members, and I don't care if they're sitting at the beach or they're in Aruba, while you're shoveling snow, they can still give online. So this is a very, very dynamic aspect of this that I think is going to really revolutionize the way we approach giving.
And this doesn't just work for your weekly tithe. This can be incorporated to give to a capital campaign. I mean, if you're in the midst of one of those, I mean, this can be, we can keep track of a capital campaign with a tab within the app, so people can keep track of that, and really brings just a regular member that comes and attends and maybe puts a tip in the plate every once in a while. This helps them get closer to becoming a stakeholder and getting them to really worshiping in a way that's meaningful to them. And we all know if we can get them to connect their heart with their pocketbook, that they're getting closer to Jesus in that same time. So yes.
That's a good illustration, because the app that's up there is Christ United Methodist, or Christ Church as it's known. They're the 8th fastest UMC church in America, and we're getting ready to do probably their umpteenth campaign. They've done about 5, 6 in a row, but it's all going to be driven online, and their mobile app is going to be a huge part of that.
Yes, we're launching that just in time for to be. They're gonna introduce their campaign, their app, and a new online giving plan all at the same time. So they're really hitting this hard, and that's a key point. Thanks, Mark. Well, next I think, Chris, we've got push notifications. So
I'm gonna
a couple more options to talk about. Okay,
go ahead.
There's a lot
of options with the apps here, so I get to ramble on a little bit more. There are so many tools in this app that we can activate, and that's something that we really want to drive home. Is you don't have to use them all. You may not be ready for them all, but they're all there, and we can activate them as you want to use them. So it's a wonderful process of growing, and this is the feedback part of the app. And we've launched this with New Horizon, our church, and what we've done with this part is they've soft released it to all of their leadership team. So now the leadership team can be thumbing through the app, seeing what they think, and they have some feedback they want to give. Within the app, they hit the feedback button. They put in their message here, and it kicks it to email right out to us so we can see what's going on and what kind of suggestions we're getting. Now, from this, we can go further, and once the app goes live, if they want feedback on a sermon, maybe an outing they've had, or whatever thing that's going on in the church, they can change this form, and they can get immediate feedback from the congregation when they want it. So this is a really neat function to add into the app.
And that can be totally anonymous too. That feedback that comes, we can set it up where they can put a name in there if they want, or they can send it completely anonymous. So it gives you the real, true feedback that you need to make sure you're designing a worship experience or an event that is meaningful. So the next time, it can be that much better and bring other folks in.
Right, which is awesome. And then Voice Notes is a recorder that we've put in there. A lot of the iTunes and Android, they like to see function, and we like to put in functions that are helpful. So this one is Voice Notes, or otherwise we call it Prayer Notes. So a person can record a message and then hit send, and it'll email it to them, or actually, it'll email it to the church, so that you can have a recorded version also to listen to.
Now that'll send it to themselves, won't it, Chris? Or they can email that to whoever they want, really.
Yeah.
But we've put this function in for, how many times have you been in a situation where you say someone you run into at the grocery store or whatever, and they give you some information like, wow, I need to be praying for you. I'm going to pray for you. And then you go off and do 30 other things, and then 2 days later you remember, oh man, I was supposed to pray for Chris. Yeah, you whip out your app, open it up, put a little voice note in, pray for John Doe about this certain thing going on in their life. Then when it's prayer time, open your app up, and you've got all your notes right there in front of you.
Mm-hmm. Great tool. And then if you have a YouTube channel, we can link that right in, and now people can hop on there and see what kind of videos or things you're posting. I know our worship leader, Jackson, uses YouTube quite a bit to get different fun things that he records and does, so we can put all those online and keep people connected in that way also. And then there's a lot of other services that we can put in there. The camera, image galleries, all of these things can be linked and added into the app as you want. Now, to the big one that Jeff likes, so I'm going to let him take over here, is the push notifications.
Yeah, push notifications. So we coined this as one of the most powerful features within the app. This allows your church to send out messages to the app users that can then be forwarded on in a number of different ways. But basically, you have a situation or an event that you want to send a message out to everybody. You can send a push notification reminding them that this event is happening. Once the event's over, like the message on the screen here, they can type in, New Horizon gives thanks for all of those of this wonderful event. You hit the little send push notification, and on the right side, the message will pop up on everybody's phone out there. Another utilization of this would be Sunday morning. It's Easter. There's just tons of people in the church, and the 5th grade leader for the youth didn't show up. They're sick, whatever, and now everyone's scrambling, making phone calls, trying to find somebody. You have somebody jump onto the computer, log in, send out a push notification that says, emergency need in the 5th grade room, please report to 103 if you're available to serve as a leader today. So that message can be sent out, and an issue can be solved quickly. There's just so many different ways. This feature is only limited by the creativity of whoever's in charge of sending these out. Just a number of different ways that this can be utilized.
Yep, very, very powerful way. And they're all recorded within the app too, so if somebody wants to go back and read them later, there's a tab where they can go back and scroll through and read what's been sent. So,
yep. So all that information that's out, we try to keep all of that within the app, so nobody's missing out on anything.
Jeff, another thing I thought about, again, particularly for some of these people who are in snow belt type of situations, and let's say that, it starts snowing on a Saturday night, and you're not going to be able to get the parking lot cleared of the snow, and so you go from needing to have 2 services to 1 service. You could easily push this out to your congregation to notify them so that they don't get out and endanger themselves. So you're right, the sky's the limit on the uses for this.
Yeah, and you want to, as a church, you want to use this in a way that is informing and engaging your congregation. It's not something that you want to just be pushing a notification out just constantly. These need to be informative, useful messages that, like I said, will engage the congregation and get them back into that app and make them feel like a stakeholder in your church.
Yep, we got a great question that popped up. I'm going to go ahead and jump in and answer it. One of the guys asked about push notifications being used to subgroups. At this point, it goes out to the entire everybody who has the app. In the future, in our next version, what we want to do is make it so we can have that be subgroupable, so that you can go into the app, you can go into your back-end portal and say, I only want this to go to the leadership team, or I only want this to go to the men's group. So we can subcategorize those, and people can sign up for which ones they want to sign up for. So that's a tool we're really looking forward to having in the app.
Yep, absolutely.
So, and that's something that we haven't really talked about is as this app grows, since it's one platform that we're reusing, as Christ Church or New Horizon or your church comes up with a new and creative idea, a new way to use the app, which is happening all the time, when we incorporate that function into the app, everybody gets it. This is a community project. This is not one guy out there on his own building an app and using it. And that's one of the things we just love about this is it's a community app that we all get to share in, we all get to grow with. So I just wanted to bring that up real quick.
Yeah, so as new features come out, we're not going to go around and say, okay, if you want the new one, it's going to cost X to get it. It's all going to be incorporated in, and right now we're going to talk about what this costs for a church to get involved with this. What we've done is we've tried to make the setup fee reasonable enough where any size church can get in. The value of this, we don't know what the real value is, but we've just decided let's cover our costs. Let's make a little bit to allow us to keep this thing going and growing. And then we've also added on a hosting charge that is paid on a monthly basis. We've got some discounts if you want to pay that quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. But what that hosting fee is like Chris said, anytime there's a new feature, that's just included. We are hosting this on our server for you, so any of the pictures or information, we've got server space being taken up by that. So we're trying to make this as affordable as possible for any size church. So we're not going out and charging big churches a lot and little churches a little bit. We've just brought the price down to the bare minimum, and we just want to help churches use today's technology. We don't want to have churches to play the catch-up game when a big church can go out and afford a $15,000 app where obviously some of these other churches can't. Like I said, we just want everybody to have access to this now. And what we're going to do is right after the webinar's over, we will send a little survey out to everyone that's attended. And if you are ready to move forward with this, there's a place within that survey to acknowledge that, and we'll get back in contact with you. And if you have any further questions about the app, there's a place in there to ask some further questions. And Chris, I think that pretty much wraps it up for me. You have anything to add?
Yeah, well, I'm going to move forward a little bit here because we did get some questions. I'm going to try to go through and answer just a few of them. We have the nice simple one about the webinar and can the notes be sent to us. We did record this, and so we can get you a recording of this webinar. So if you want to play it to others and let them see it, we'll be able to do that for you, and we'll send that via email. Just let us know that you'd like to have that. Let's see if what other kind of questions we have besides me turning up my mic.
Hey, Chris, while you're talking about that, one thing I was going to jump in and say when you were going on the directions, kind of a funny note, we were at a conference, I was actually at Christ Church last Friday, and I had a meeting with your church in Champaign, and I'd never driven from Christ Church is kind of on the east side of St. Louis. I'd never driven to Champaign that way, and so I turned to you guys because you live there, and I said, hey, what's the best way to go there? You both looked at me kind of like, duh. They said, well, take out your app and hit directions. And it actually led me the whole way. And then I got to thinking, well, I don't have anything to do with driving on the interstate. And so I went to where your pastor's sermons are listened, and I listened to Mark Jordan preach the whole way. So
Yeah.
The app not only got me there quicker, it allowed me to have a wonderful time in the experience. So it's a lot of tools that can be used, and I failed to mention that during that point.
Yeah, that's great. That's good to hear. We've covered some of these questions. Will the app feedback record our IP address, see how many times one person provides feedback? It doesn't track. The app doesn't track that feedback. Now, when it emails it to you, you'll see their email address, so there is a way to capture that and look to see who's sending that stuff in if you want to record that. We talked about push notifications. You can put daily messages on there if people want. We just have to be real careful with inundating people with messages constantly, because there is the ability to go in and turn that off. So we want to be real conscious of people's time. Once we get
Chris,
subgrouped out, then that would be a great tool.
yeah,
Go ahead,
one other thing I'm saying is the time to live. If we say yes today, how long till my app is live? That just depends. There's a couple of things that can affect that. One of the primary one is the differences in the marketplaces and how they approve the apps. iTunes takes a little while. Once we have an app built and we submit that to the Apple Store, it can take up to 2 weeks to get that live. It could be longer than that, but we're seeing a good trend there of about 2 weeks. Android's a lot quicker. Within a week, even a couple of days, we can get something live there. But the real time-consuming part is making sure we get the information from your church to us so we can build the app in the way that it needs to be done. So we've got a form that we email to you, that you give us the Facebook link, the YouTube RSS feed, all the different things that need to be done. If there's images that we need, all of that type of stuff there needs to be some sort of open communication between us and your church to make sure we get the information we need so we can build the app in a timely fashion. But really, I would expect, if you say yes today, we should have you an app live within 30 days.
Yeah, I really believe that. And they have here with the RSS feed from the podcast, once you link a podcast to your RSS feed, it automatically updates your iTunes and your app. So that's an automatic thing you don't have to go do every time. When operating systems upgrade, we have the coders there to upgrade the system so it transitions with it. There's not that downtime in reloading. We have another one about how to, you don't have to go to the iTunes store or the Android store each time to reload the app. If you have updates, we've made it a very lightweight app, so every time the person reloads that app on their system, it brings in the new information, so they don't have to go get it. We have a question about both iPhone and Android, or will they be charged separately? They're all in one. We've included both in that price, so we don't have the double up and leaving some people out. So we've done that to make it all in one. That's kind of the main questions. Online giving, a lot of questions about that. That's set up through, we set that up separately. We don't have anything to do with the online giving except for we help you, we host it on the app so it can go through the app.
Yeah, the online giving, that is, we bring in whatever you currently use. We can bring that web page, basically, we'll bring that into the app. So we're not getting involved in your giving by any means. We're just bringing up your online portal within the app. So if they currently have an account set up in your online giving, that is going to stay the same within the app. They can get in. It just gives them the freedom to log into it no matter where they're at. And if you don't have an online giving portal, we can get you in contact with a couple of different companies. You can choose the right one for you. And get that set up, and then once that's set up, then we can turn that tab on inside the app, and then the mobile giving will be available to your congregation. So that's sometimes a process, but if you've already got it, we serve it right up in its current form. And if the company you're working with has a mobile side of it, it can even serve it in a little more visually pleasing form.
Mm-hmm. And we've got a couple questions on Blackberries. Yes, there is a platform for that, and we can handle that. BlackBerry is changing quite a bit, so I'd like to say we have it nailed down as to I don't know how to address that. It's been changing a lot lately.
Yeah, Windows, we can produce the code for an HTML5 app, which would work both on Windows and BlackBerry. They're kind of inconsistent on the way that they're allowing us to publish apps. Right now, we can say that should be included, but if that changes by the time we publish an app, there can be an additional charge. Sorry to be vague on that, but they're vague with us. Right now, and sometimes they want to say they're going to charge us every time we publish an app. Other times they're just going to charge us once to open the account. So that's where we're at with the HTML5 apps.
Yep. And on the giving, there's still a lot of questions coming in about that. If your portal is set up to specify where you want the giving to go, that incorporates right into the app. So it's really how you have that portal set up on site on your online part that will kind of dictate how it looks in the app because it's brought in through the website. So if you got that ability now, it's going to do it now. If we need to get a hold of whoever's setting that up for you and set that up, it can be set up that way so they can really individualize where those funds are going. So that can be done. And then another wonderful question that came in was, can we create a webinar for the congregation on how to use a church app? I think that would be important to help create a video so that everybody knows how to use the app within the congregation. So,
hey guys, let me, if I can insert here, because I think you kind of downplayed an area where we focused on the others, and that is the support behind this. And I tell everybody that's listening, and one of the reasons why I've linked in with Church App Solutions is the fact that these guys are going to stand behind this app. You're not going to be left high and dry. There's some other people out there, basically they'll design it, charge a lot of money, drop it in your lap, or not charge you a lot of money and drop it in your lap. The thing I like about Jeff and Chris's company is they're going to stand behind that, as well as they're very good at designing, videos for those of us who are technologically challenged to have pictures to say, push this button here. And so I think that's a good point. We need to make it as easily usable as possible. And so I think you'll find that from Church App Solutions, that they're going to stand behind this product and make it to where it's functional and usable for your congregation.
Yeah, we can partner with you on the launch of the app and do a webinar that folks could log on to. But even further than that, we can work with you if you don't have somebody on staff that is currently producing videos. We can do some of the main features on how to do it. We can produce some very short, quick videos doing some screen captures that then you guys can load onto your website that folks can go on, or we can load them right into the app. Even better, they open up their app and go to the How-To tab and play those right within the app on how to use it. So we can help you out. Whatever's needed there, we're here to make this thing exactly what your church needs.
And I think that's a good point, because a lot of times, churches will have a website or things like that, and then they just let it lie there. They don't advertise it. They don't drive the people to that. And this is a great tool, but like all tools, if you just leave it in your toolbox, it's never going to get used. One other thing I want to say for these guys, I'm working with one of the top 100 in terms of size churches in America, and they have an app, and I have on my iPhone New Horizons app that these guys designed. I've got the huge churches app side by side. It doesn't work. It looks cool, but when you try to use it, it just keeps crashing. Now they know this, and so it's not something that's unknown to them. But they went out and designed an app. They spent a lot of money. It's just not functional. And so I go back and forth, and I'm been clicking through all of the different apps that these guys have put together, and it works. And so you want to make sure that the platform that you utilize is a workable platform, and that's another real reason why we've decided from the Charis Group to partner with Church App Solutions. It's just the functionalities there, but also the support and the fact that you really want to make sure that it works, and it's doing just exactly that.
Well, thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. We work very hard to make sure things run smoothly, even though sometimes they don't. Well, I don't think there's any other questions. I think we covered everything. There's a few out there that we're going to have to get to. We wanted to kind of make this a brief webinar so people can get on with their days. We've been about 40 minutes, so I think that's about long enough. Jeff, you want to go over what the next step is?
Yeah, next step is we'll be sending an email out, like I said, with a little brief survey in it. That'll be coming to whatever email address you signed up for the webinar. And if you could, get that filled out as soon as you can, and there'll be an opportunity for you to indicate that you're ready to move forward. And we will get back in contact with each one of you. And we appreciate everybody's time, and we look forward to working with those that are ready to move forward.
Appreciate it. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, Mark.